You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mike Yahoo.
Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from the Moose on the Loose. Welcome to Retirement Friday. Before we start, Retirement Friday is actually being inspired with our community, our Retirement Loop. If you want to know more about Retirement Loop, if you're about to get into that transition where you have a lot of questions about your retirement, such as like, how much can I spend? How can I create my income? Where to withdraw the money? When should I take CPP and OAS? All those questions are being discussed with example, and you can share a lot of interesting thoughts about it in our community at Retirement Loop. So you can register to the free waiting list where we send you more information about retirement planning, and you're going to be the first one to know when we reopen the doors. So it's moosemarkets.com/retirement to register. So moosemarkets.com/retirement to register. So today we are talking about what are the safest income generators at retirement. I mean, you work hard, you're finally there, you want to enjoy life, and the last thing you want is to start thinking about Trump and the tariffs and the market crash potentials and all of those stocks, right? So you want to have something that is like super safe, super stable, and it kind of makes sense. You just want to enjoy life, right? And want to be able to spend without that remorse or that regret or that fear that you spend a little bit too much and then that you're going to outlive your portfolio and it's going to be terrible. So what's safe in terms of investment? Well, the first thing is you have to think about inflation, right? Because yes, it's great to have like a fixed yield, but if it doesn't increase, well, already you're hurting your portfolio, you're hurting your retirement plan, and it's not that safe because $10,000 today and $10,000 in 10 years, not going to be the same $10,000. So you have to be very careful about inflation. You want something that grows potentially, right? If you're thinking about investing in businesses like in stocks, you want a business that is growing, because if it's not growing, well, it's going to lead to dividend cut eventually. So you have to be very careful. So at first, you need to build something super safe already. So super safe, I mean, you're probably not going to like it because we're going to talk about stuff that are not offering a high yield, but they are 100% safe. So a GIC ladder, a bond ladder, that could make it. You can use a portion of your portfolio to buy an annuity. Yes, the annuity will regenerate less income than if you invest by yourself, but actually it's going to be a lot safer than if you invest in covered call ETFs. So probably that you have to ponder those two, because yes, in both cases, you're going to leave money on the table, but at least with the annuity, it's written on a contract how much you're going to receive. You can add like survivor, you can add indexation and other features to your annuity contract. That could also smoother your concerns around retirement. Again, I'm not telling you to buy annuities. It really depends. It depends on the size of your portfolio. Maybe you have a defined pension plan that would also fall into the safest income generators because it's defined. It's on your employer's shoulders that has all the responsibility to generate your income, which could be great. One thing that is super important, CPP and OAS, those are fueled by the government, insured by the government, and it will follow inflation. So that should be your base of safe income retirement, safe income generators at retirement. But now you're probably here because you want to talk about dividend, right? And it's kind of ironic. I had like a member that has been there for like 5 years now, and he decided not to renew. And then when I asked him like, well, why did you decide to not renew your membership at Dividend Stocks Rock? And he said, but Mike, you're talking a little bit too much about low yield, high growth stocks. And if I was like 20 years younger, it would have been like amazing advice. But right now I just retired and I want to focus on higher yield because it makes a lot more sense for me. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I mean, it's your decision, but it's like saying, oh, because I'm retiring, I will focus on buying weaker companies, because that's what it is. most companies over 4% yield. And we discussed yesterday, I actually did a huge sprint. If you missed it, you're going to have fun. I covered more than 20 stocks in 10 minutes that offers a 4% yield. Some of them are very solid, actually. But first, if you look at what I've discussed, probably half of them are around the financial sector, or 40% of them. So then you have like the financial sectors, you have energy sectors, you have utilities and REITs. And once you have covered those, you have a few more to add, but that doesn't make a well-diversified portfolio. And if you're like buying more of those companies, while you're buying more of the same, you narrow focus on a handful of sector. If there's a problem on those sectors, well, you're retired. You have less time and you don't have any more capital to add. What's going to happen if there's like one sector that goes wrong? I mean, it's going to be bad. And a lot of those companies, they're not necessarily thriving. And I've put like about 20 stocks yesterday. Honestly, it would be hard for me to put like a completely diversified portfolio of like 30 companies with 4% and plus. So thinking about that, like I would have to add companies that do not increase their dividends, so therefore they're failing with inflation, they're struggling, their revenue or their earnings are not growing. And in business, when you stagnate, you die. Like this is like that's like the first step. If a business is not able to grow their sales and earnings for several quarters, well, it's going to die. I mean, it's going to just go downhill from there. And then your portfolio is going to go down and down and down and down. And eventually it's going to lead to a dividend cut. And a lot of like high yielders eventually cut their dividend, especially when we go into a recession. And guess what? It's been a pretty long while we have not hit a recession. So kind of like giving you the impression that everything's going to be smooth and we're going to continue to get those high yielding stocks. But you have to be a bit more concerned about the yield that you're buying. Again, there is a reason why those yields are higher. So here's the thing. You don't have to go for low yield, high growth stocks. That's like one strategy. It works for me, but it doesn't necessarily work for you. And that's totally fine. But when you're picking among higher yielders companies, such as like Canadian Natural Resources, Enbridge, banks, life insurance companies, those are good examples of like companies offering you a 4% plus yield, but increasing their dividend, having a business that not only like grows super fast, like Enbridge is not growing super fast, but it is growing. So this is the type of business that you want in your portfolio. If you're looking for high yield, those are like the safest income generators, are the one that are able to increase systematically their dividend every single year. If they don't, the inflation is eating up your retirement budget. And that's a big sign that the company is not doing that well. You have to keep that in mind when you build your portfolio for retirement. And I'll tell you up front, of course, you're going to tell me, but Mike, you're a lot younger than me, so that doesn't apply to me. Well, I'm in my 40s, and I'll tell you, like, I'll still have moose on the loose when I'll be in my 60s and my 70s. I'm pretty sure that because I just love to do this. And wherever I will be, I will tell you again that my portfolio will be built on the same strong dividend triangle approach. I've been doing this for like 15 years now. I'm not going to stop tomorrow. I stick to that strategy. I stick to my guns, and it's working very well. So anyways, that's how I see it. And this is what I see as the safest income generators are companies that are thriving, simply and like super straightforward, right? If you are thinking about creating income for your portfolio, we are going to talk about that at Retirement Loop. Actually, those are like the next few months, March, April, and May are going to be concentrated about how to create a paycheck from your portfolio. So you can learn more about Retirement Loop and be the first one to know when we reopen our doors while we talk about creating that paycheck by signing up to the free newsletters at moosemarkets.com/retirement. So it's moosemarkets.com/retirement. And we're going to talk about how to create an income, a paycheck from your portfolio. All right, Moose, that's enough for today. Next Monday, we're going to talk about why your portfolio should not be like your garage. But I'm not going to give you more insight about that. You'll have to wait until Monday. And until then, do not forget to stay invested.
Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to the Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy this show and do your due diligence after it.